Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today I have a product review for you. And the products which I will be reviewing are these. Now, what are these exactly? Look kind of familiar maybe? Well, many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the Midori Traveler's Notebook. I did a review of this notebook. It was a very popular video on my channel. And a lot of the comments on that review asked about whether or not there was a cheaper alternative to the Midori, because as you might know, the Midori isn't cheap. It's a pretty spendy little guy here. It's a high quality leather notebook, goes for quite a bit. And because the Midori is so popular, because there's kind of a cult following built up around it, a lot of people have made alternatives to the Midori. If you go on Etsy, there's all sorts of faux dories, Midoris that people have made themselves that can still use the same inserts that the Midori uses. And there was also a company called ZLYC, which contacted me, said that they had journals, a lot of different leather journals that were similar to the Midori, and they were wondering if they could send me some of their journals for me to review. Now, as I always say, if someone provides a product for me to review, it does not mean that it's going to get a good review just right off the bat. I'm still going to be just as objective as I would be if it were a product I purchased myself. But we're going to go into some of these ZLYC notebooks. They sent me a nice little sampling of the things they have to offer. I'm going to show you on their website. They have an Amazon.com store and an Amazon.UK store. That's basically how you'd be able to purchase these products. So if you're in the UK or the US, you can purchase through those different storefronts. If you're in the rest of the world, I'm not sure exactly how the shipping would work and where you can get these. But we're going to go look at their store online. I'm going to show you some of the things they have to offer. And they also sent me a 15% off coupon code. So for the UK store and for the American store, they're two separate codes. They're good until July 31st. So if you like anything you've seen on this video, you can enter the coupon code at checkout on Amazon.com and you can get 15% off your purchase. But let's take a look at the different storefronts, see some of the products they have, and we'll talk about some of the prices. And then we'll get a close-up view of the journals they sent me. We'll compare and contrast with my Midori Traveler's Notebook, and we'll see if they are a nice, viable alternative to the full-price, full-size Midori Traveler's Notebook. So let's take a look. So here we are at just the normal Amazon.com site for the ZLYC storefront. And we also have the UK version here. And in my communication with ZLYC, they said that if you are in the US, they recommend ordering from the US version of Amazon because they have a US warehouse and you'll get your items quicker than if you order from the UK site. The UK, I think, ships from Hong Kong, and the US one ships from the US. But if we just take a look down through some of the products they have, the ones they sent me was this handmade vegetable tan leather standard and passport size set with pencil case. And you can see the price on that is $65.99. The UK version of that is, where is it? Right here, it is $38.99 in pounds. So that's a set of three. That's the full size, the passport size, and this pen case. And if you look at just normal Amazon.com, the Traveler's Notebook, just the normal full-size notebook, is $38.99 just for the full-size notebook. The passport size is $33.99. And if we go to the UK in pounds, full size is $28.05, and the passport is $23.42. So when you think about that, you're getting quite a bit of savings there, a set of three. And then they also have, they sent me one of these little guys, which is right here. This is a passport size in leather. I think they sent me the red. Which one is it? Dark red? Maybe it was the brown. And it's $19.90 for a passport size traveler's style notebook. And if we look, $33.39 for the Midori version of that in the passport size. And on the UK site, this guy is $13.99 in pounds, and the passport size in pounds is $23.42. So you can see it's significantly cheaper than the Midori version. And if we just look, they have all sorts of different journals available here, some with sort of embossing, different patterns, floral patterns. This one's kind of cool. It has a compass pattern embossed on the leather. And when we get close up, we'll do a close-up view. I'll show you some of the features of these notebooks, but they're pretty much very similar to a traveler's notebook, a Midori traveler's notebook style, with inserts that you can remove or add to the journal, and the elastic band system. Basically a very similar layout to the Midori traveler's notebook, but quite a bit cheaper. And with that promotional code, the 15% off that ZLYC is offering to my viewers on both the Amazon.uk and the Amazon.com websites, you can get 15% off. So if we have them in the cart, this is $39.99. Add to cart, proceed to checkout, and you see you get a nice $6 off here. So in the US with standard shipping, you're basically getting your shipping for free with that promotional code. Now each one of these I think come with different inserts, so you just have to kind of look at the description and see what kind of inserts you're going to be getting with each of these books. And most of them usually come with 3 already installed in the notebook. But let's take a closer look at the notebooks they sent me. We'll compare and contrast to my Midori Traveler's notebook, and we'll see if your savings means that you're also sacrificing quality or not. All right, gang, so these are some of the notebooks that ZLYC sent me. As I showed you on their Amazon.com storefronts, this set here that comes with a full-size, passport size, and pencil case was the Handmade Vegetable Tanned Leather Standard and Passport Size Traveler's Journal Notebook with Pencil Case Set of 3 Yellow. And that was for a cost of $65.99 in US dollars or $38.99 in pounds. And then they also sent me this baby, which was the Vintage Handmade Refillable Leather Passport Size Traveler's Journey Diary Notebook. Wait a minute, let me try that again. Vintage Handmade Refillable Leather Passport Size Traveler's Journal Diary Notepad Notebook, brown or dark red. I'm not sure if this is the brown or the dark red. On the Amazon storefront, it looks very similar. I think the dark red might have more of a texturized look to it. But if we just go and look through these, basically, you know, you're familiar with this layout. It's a piece of leather. We have a clasp similar to the Midori clasp. Well, basically it does the same thing as the Midori clasp, but a different design. So it's laid out in a very similar way to the Midori. One difference you'll see is that the elastic closure on these notebooks, on all of these notebooks, comes out of the spine, which is a mod that a lot of people do to their Midoris. With the Midori Traveler's Notebook, it comes out the back, or it's the back cover. And some people think that that leaves a little lump. They're not a huge fan of that when they're trying to write on the notebook. I don't really mind it necessarily, but I certainly don't mind coming out of the spine either. I think that's a nice alternative. So we have a very similar design layout basically to the Midori. You can see we basically have the same sort of elastic band configuration here. Instead of the rubber bands that the Midori provides, or actually I guess you have to purchase separately to add more inserts, this one comes with extra pieces of elastic, and they're knotted. Let's see if we can find this here. So there's the middle, and then you can see there's this other piece of elastic that's knotted here, and that's in place of the rubber bands. But basically the way you put these inserts in is the same way you would with the Midori. It's just elastic bands instead of rubber bands. And they provided with this one kind of cream colored lined paper insert here. And then a zip folder, very similar to the Midori zip folder. Also has the pockets in the back like the Midori one does. And then a graph paper insert as well. And if we look at the passport size ones, this baby's got just a white lined paper insert, a calendar or diary, and another lined paper insert. And this one has diary, kind of the craft paper, and some more of that craft paper. So that's kind of like the scrapbooking aspect. There's a similar insert for the Midoris that people use for scrapbooking, pasting things, cutting things out and stuff like that. If we look at the quality of the leather on these, this one, I'm not a huge fan of the texture of this. It's a very kind of hard feeling leather on the top. I thought when I saw the picture that this was going to be kind of a relief or a texture on here, but it's just very smooth and hard. And I don't know if you can see this. It's not as soft and supple as the leather on the Midori. But the leather on this one, which was the vintage handmade refillable leather passport size traveler's journey diary notepad notebook brown, the leather is a lot more soft and a lot more supple. Sorry, just banged the tripod. It's still not quite up to the quality of the leather on this Midori. The leather on this Midori is really, really nice. I've been really impressed with it ever since I've had it. I love how it ages. I love how it wears. It's very, very high quality leather. This one, it's not quite there. I think it's still definitely passable, and for the price, it's not bad. But it's not quite up to the standards of the Midori. These inserts seem pretty nice. I noticed when I first opened it, I don't know if you can see this on camera, it's not totally square here. I'm not sure exactly how they put these inserts together. Maybe I should check that out. Are they stapled? Yeah, they're stapled, which the Midori ones are as well. But it seems like there's a little bit of a cant there on the top line, not totally square. These craft paper ones look fine. If we look at some of the inserts in here, these ones, I can't totally tell, but they look like they're a little more aligned. The paper in here feels like pretty good quality on these full-size inserts. The ones in the small insert, at least the paper on this diary, definitely feels just more like copy paper. It doesn't have the weight and the texture that the, let's see. Yeah, that's about the same. So it seems like the paper in the smaller journals and the passport size is a little less in terms of quality. The paper in this feels pretty nice, actually. This is kind of nice cream paper. Feels like it has a pretty good weight. I don't know the weight. If I had to guess, maybe around 80 GSM, not totally sure. This zip pocket feels like pretty good quality. And if you don't like the inserts in these though, I'm pretty sure, let's take one of these out, that the standard Midori inserts will fit in here. So I've got, this one is the Midori, kind of the thicker paper insert you can use as a sketchbook. I think that's what it's called, the sketchbook insert. And you can see it fits in just fine. And basically the dimensions of this are very, very similar to the Midori, except, let's get them right next to each other so we can see. This baby, oops, did I do that wrong? We're a little off here. There we go. This guy is just a little bit wider, actually. You can see there. And maybe just slightly longer. It's kind of hard to tell in camera. And that's another thing that people who kind of make their faux dories or their own handmade versions of the Midoris, often they extend the leather out a little bit, because when you put more inserts in there, you can see here with my zip folder, the cover doesn't cover completely. With this, I don't think you're going to have that issue. So in a lot of the sort of ergonomic areas, things that people have tried to do on their own to improve the Midori, ZLYC is done for you. They put the elastic back here, they've extended the cover a little bit, so it's not bad. The leather quality isn't as good on this as the Midori, and the inserts on these ones are not quite as nice as the Midori or even the ones in the full size, but like I said, you can always buy Midori inserts for these. Some people might not be huge fans of the knotted elastic here, but again, if you wanted to use the Midori rubber bands, I think they would fit just fine in these. Or you saw, I had a video, maybe I'll link to in the description, where I did a customization with the elastic bands on my Midori, where I actually put 3 elastic bands in it, so I didn't need any of the rubber bands, and I could put each 3 inserts in separately. You could always try that. But I also want to take a look at how these inserts that come with these books stand up to use with a fountain pen. So I'm just going to get a couple fountain pens here. I've got one with an extra fine nib. Now I am looking through the tripod here. This is not going to work out very well. But if we just try to write something. Yikes. So that's with an extra fine. Let's try a medium. Well, it's a Japanese medium, so it's not quite as wet as a Western medium would be. Oops, I don't know what I'm writing. I'm just going to scribble here. I just want to see if we're going to get any show through. Take a look. Not bad in my opinion. I don't really see any feathering or anything. It seems like the paper in these inserts for the full-size notebook are of a pretty high weight. I'm guessing around 80 GSM, and they seem pretty nice for a fountain pen. So that's not an issue there. On these passport size ones, I'm gonna guess that it's not gonna go too well. Let's get to just the normal paper here. This is the diary. We'll write in an appointment here. Let's see. On the 9th of, I guess you don't have the month on there, we will do stuff. So that's with a extra fine. Let's see, on the 15th, we will do things. Now, here we've got, I don't see any feathering on this either. What about show through? Definitely more show through. I don't see any bleed through really, maybe just a tiny little dot on the medium ink, but it's definitely a thinner paper. It's not horrible though. It's not quite as bad as just normal copy paper, but I still see, I don't know if you can see that or not, if the camera is distorting it, but there's definitely, it's not totally square. The cut is a little odd on these inserts. So that's a tick against these, I guess. But in general, you know, even though I don't particularly like the finish on these journals, this one I don't mind at all. It's a little more of a softer, suppler leather. Still not up to the quality of the good old Midori, but a lot cheaper. Inserts, not great in this one. Not bad at all in the full size, but you can use the Midori inserts. So all in all, not a bad alternative, I would say, to the Midori Traveler's Notebook. So there you go, an overview of some of the journals that ZLYC has to offer as a possible alternative to the Midori Traveler's Notebook. Now, are they as nice as the official Midori Traveler's Notebook? In my opinion, no. I do think that the leather on the Midori is quite a bit nicer than the ones on the ZLYC, not by leaps and bounds necessarily. As I mentioned, this one, I'm not really a huge fan of the texture on this, but on this one, which was the vintage handmade refillable leather passport size traveler's journal, diary, notepad, notebook, brown or dark red, the leather is actually pretty nice on this. Still not quite up to the quality of the Midori. But some of the other features that you might like more, you might like the fact that the elastic closure comes out of the spine. Some people might appreciate that more. And as I pointed out, the passport and full-size Midori inserts will fit into these journals. So as a lower cost alternative to a Midori Traveler's Notebook, I do think that these are definitely viable options. And with the 15% off coupon codes that ZLYC sent me for you to use on the UK and US Amazon sites, you might not be able to go wrong. So there you have it. ZLYC notebooks. Check out all the links in the description box below if you're interested in these notebooks. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. I've been your good friend Bradley. You have been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things reviewing the ZLYC Traveler's Type notebooks. I'll see you later.